Wednesday, July 12th, and welcome back to Damon Bruce Plus. It's great to have you here again. Thank you for joining me. It's wonderful to see you. So many old friends, new names hopping into the early bird chat group that we have before the show even starts. I see Chef A has officially joined the party. Chef Amy wrote me one of the nicest letters of my entire career a year ago and sent it to the old station. I'm glad that she showed up. I'm glad that you've showed up. I see Stacy Leo in there already hitting the like button before the show even starts, which is a strong move. You might not even like this show today, but we'll try and make it a good one for you. Welcome once again. And man, what can I tell you about Rob Manfred that you don't already know? Everyone seems to have a very clear understanding of who this guy is as a commissioner. He's really like basically every other commissioner, no more than a shill for the owners of this sport. But he is not a caretaker of the game. He is not a guardian of how precious the game is seen by so many people. He's certainly done nothing to help the city of Oakland try to find its way through the John Fisher A's situation, and that has been pretty much put on full blast by an article that has appeared this morning in The Athletic, written by Ken Rosenthal, that basically said, look, Oakland's mayor flew to Seattle to meet with Rob Manfred on Sunday, the very first time the two of them have been in a room together. I mean, that just shows you how disingenuous any effort to try to make things work in Oakland from the top, from the commissioner's office itself. It just shows you how disingenuous the entire thing has basically begun. And she went there not to make some last-minute appeal to keep the A's in Oakland, although I'm sure there was an element of that in that meeting. She basically went up there to set the record straight and to say that, basically he's been gaslighting the city of Oakland and blaming the city of Oakland for the A's stadium problems is misinformed at best and an outright lie at worst. And there is no doubt in my mind that an outright lie at worst is absolutely a place where Rob Manfred is comfortable operating from. An outright lie to get him through his job in a smoother capacity is exactly what Rob is looking for. This man has erred about as much as a major commissioner could ever err. He has disrespected the sport, the elements of cheating attached to the Houston Astros, the way that he went about adjudicating that, the way that he gave everyone involved basically a free pass to tell the truth that was a truth we knew before he even went and found the truth. I mean, it was a massive scandal that he tried to make disappear with no penalty, no cause. And it was in that moment you knew that this was a commissioner who didn't ever really have the game of baseball anywhere around his heart. The business of baseball, like the Great Wall of China, surrounds his heart. But that's it. All he cares about is the business of baseball. The game itself, he obviously doesn't care. I could be a better commissioner of baseball by just two actions. Watch this. We're returning all baseball games to the normal rules of extra innings. We're getting rid of this ghost runner on second. Now the games are coming in under 3 hours routinely. Ta-da! I'm already a better commissioner than Rob Manfred. Watch this. I'm going to get even better. My second initiative. Next year and from now on, players will wear their team's uniforms in the All-Star game, not an All-Star game uniform. Ta-da! I've just done a better job as commissioner of Major League Baseball in 2 sentences than Rob Manfred has done in however long he's been the commissioner of Major League Baseball. I'm already better at it than he is. Good Lord. There's very few things that we all agree upon when it comes to anything these days. I mean, getting 65% consensus on anything is next to impossible, the way that people have just divided their thinking, and I can't agree with you because I don't like the color T-shirt you're wearing. Your ideas might be great, but the color T-shirt you're wearing means I can't agree with you. I mean, that's where we are in this world. 100% of everyone polled has decided that all-star game uniforms suck. Just wear your home team uniform or your away uniform, and that tapestry of uniforms is literally part and parcel of the magic that the all-star game continues to lose. It was great to see the National League back on the right side of the ledger last night. Of course, a Colorado Rockies catcher was named MVP, just like we all had. Who wasn't thinking about, guys catching for the Colorado Rockies being in the center of major happenings all baseball season long? Congratulations to Diaz. He deserves it. But that was among the least forgettable or most forgettable, least memorable all-star games of all time. It really was. And that's too bad. And I'm not blaming Rob Manfred on that. Baseball happens. You can't guarantee an exciting game. Results are not guaranteed. You can only put a game on. They put a game on. It wasn't a great game. It was a low-scoring game. Was it entertaining? Moments, but they were far and few between. And for the most part, it's going to go down as a totally forgotten all-star game when it is all said and done. Let's just be totally honest. And I'm not mad at that all-star game. I didn't dislike the all-star game. I hated the uniforms, and I'm just here to tell you as a big baseball fan that there's a lot of things that we're going to remember in our sports lifetimes, and that ain't one of them. That's not one of them. What I do want to get into, though, is the story that Ken Rosenthal wrote in The Athletic, and I want to read some of it right to you because we're going to be talking about Oakland's mayor going up there to try to, appeal to the, sensibilities of Rob Manfred. That's probably not going to happen. Anyway, Rob Manfred writes in The Athletic, Oakland's mayor presented the commissioner with documented evidence of her city's plan to build a new ballpark. She also addressed the possibility of Oakland potentially bidding for an expansion team, A's owner John Fisher's lack of spending, and whether she wants to see the team sold. Coming to Seattle to meet with Manfred, that was important to me. I wanted to see him face-to-face in person. This is our first meeting. And right there alone, how could this possibly be the first face-to-face meeting? And Rob Manfred in any way, shape, or form says that he's tried to save Oakland as a market. He hasn't even bothered to meet with Madam Mayor yet. She had to go to him. She had to initiate it. He probably wouldn't have put it on his schedule. That just shows you how disingenuous this whole thing is pretty much shaped up to be from the get-go. The question was for Madam Mayor, what if the A's leave for Las Vegas and Major League Baseball asks you to bid for an expansion team? She said, if they do leave for Nevada, then absolutely we would welcome that conversation around an expansion team. I believe that Las Vegas is suited for an expansion team, and the Oakland A's should remain rooted in Oakland with its strong fan base. The franchise has been here for over 50 years. That's my first take, and I'm going to keep fighting hard for it. I'm not going down quietly or easily. Rob Manfred is already talking about expansion, and he's curtailing it by saying, now we'll get to expansion possibly, but once we have the stadium issues in Oakland and Tampa Bay settled. Look, that is the wrong way to go about it. And I hope, if nothing else, what we're learning through this is that the desire of Oakland to possibly reach out for an expansion team will allow them to sue John Fisher to retain the rights to the team name, the team's history, and the team's uniforms. Honestly, John Fisher's done such a poor job managing and running the Oakland A's that if he were to go somewhere and take his team to Las Vegas, a couple of years to reset the meter for the A's isn't necessarily a bad thing. Maybe a rebranding without being a new brand is exactly what the A's and the city of Oakland need to drum up that interest in baseball again. Although I do believe that drumming up interest in baseball could be found just by John Fisher selling the team to someone who wanted to keep it here, and there are several parties who want to do that. Look, John Fisher's never going to do the right thing for anyone involved, just him. That's it. He doesn't care about the city of Las Vegas that he's about to screw over. He doesn't care about the city of Oakland. He doesn't give a rip about diversity. He doesn't give a rip about anything. He doesn't care about winning baseball games. All he cares about is owning a baseball team so he can triple its actual value, which it's already happened. So he needs to quintuple, quadruple, whatever. He needs to, I guarantee you, he sells the team within 5 years of moving it to Vegas. Right? I mean, he's just looking for the biggest profit margin that he can find. That son of a bitch. But there you go. We officially now have Madam Mayor on record that she is interested in an expansion team if that's what's going to happen. What is your view of the criticism that not enough fans show up to A's games? And this is something that Rob Manfred has tried to tout as reason why they got to go. And she nailed it. She says, I think it's a huge disservice to claim that with the understanding that there's been a tremendous underinvestment into the team itself. Obviously, when there were investments into players and teams, we did see many fans populate the stadium. It's a two-way street. You can't divest from a team to make them one of the worst teams in the league. The fans know it, the owners know it, everyone knows it, and then be expecting a strong fan base as well. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And what she left out is not only did this guy gut the team down to its bare bones, they doubled season ticket prices. They begged their fans to not come in the most easy to see way possible in the world. There's no room for interpretation as to what the goal of John Fisher was. John Fisher's goal was to scuttle interest in his team and take the most diehard fan and shit on them so unbelievably hard they had no recourse left but to just decide, I'm not going to that anymore. In your mind, what does Oakland have that Las Vegas doesn't? And the mayor says, well, you know, the market share. That's number one, our beautiful weather, and not just that, but Oakland's diversity. I know it's one of the core values of Major League Baseball to actually continue to diversify its fan base. Leaving Oakland for Nevada doesn't help prove that point. Keeping Major League Baseball and the A's in Oakland and rooted in Oakland, that's how you diversify your fan base. Oakland is one of the most diverse cities in the whole nation. The weather, the fan base, the diversity, and obviously we're not talking just about a stadium, but it was upon their request, real estate too. Residential, commercial, whereas in Vegas, you only have 9 acres of a supposed stadium and close to 100-degree weather. So again, the major construction project that you wanted around your stadium, Oakland has that, and that's what John Fisher should care about. That's what baseball should care about. Let's be completely honest. Major League Baseball would go ahead and reinstall the concept of slavery to the United States if it meant more money for Major League Baseball. No team, no sport, no owner, no anyone actually cares about diversity more than the bullshit t-shirt that they can sell you. I've said that for years. Every single initiative, Pride Night, Gay Night, this night, that night, Taiwanese night, Filipino night, Irish, Italian Heritage Night, none of that matters. That's a t-shirt they're selling a sucker. None of that matters. Major League Baseball can't claim to ever care about diversity if it leaves the city of Oakland. And honestly, it doesn't care about diversity at all, even if it stays. Let's be totally honest. Major League Baseball shits on diversity. All sports will do that if given the opportunity to. They don't care. They're just trying to make money and do business. If they can do more business plopping down into a 100% white America, abandoning black America forever, baseball would do that. Quit pretending. Quit pretending anyone here gives a rip about an underserved community. They only just want to overserve their billionaire owners as much money as humanly possible. Diversity. What is that, an old wooden ship? God almighty. That feels like it might have qualified for the sip of the day. There's bad faith negotiation going on, and I don't believe that bad faith was on Oakland's part. Oakland was trying to go through a very complex and difficult negotiation with an owner who never showed up to actually meet, with a commissioner who has never met the mayor of Oakland until she basically cornered him in Seattle on Sunday. There's no good faith element to be found in the A's, John Fisher, Major League Baseball, the commissioner, anywhere. Anywhere. Major League Baseball might as well be Dave Chappelle in the Prince skit with his boots on the white couch saying, "Fuck your couch." That's Major League Baseball and how they've handled the city of Oakland. They're just stomping on the couch. Pretty gross. So, save the A's, sell the team, all that shit. Nothing's going to save them now. They're gone. They're gone. You can tell that baseball wants it. The owners are going to push it through. They're going to ramrod this thing into a situation that's going to screw over Nevada eventually. John Fisher's not going to go changing his stripes the way he operates. There's no public amount of pressure that Vegas demands a winner that he's going to give a shit about. Not at all. Not at all. It just sucks. The entire thing sucks. Talking about an expansion team. An expansion team should be given to Las Vegas. What are we even talking about here? This all came out of the All-Star game up in Seattle, which we've already said, look, it wasn't a very memorable All-Star game other than the fact that the National League snapped a 9-game All-Star game losing streak. It was a 3-2 game, so there wasn't a lot of thumping. There weren't crooked numbers. Basically, All-Star games are so dominated by outstanding starting pitching and closers masquerading as just middle-inning relief pitchers that All-Star game, they should cancel the home run derby because you basically have to hit a home run to score in an all-star game these days. Rockies catcher Elias Diaz, a 2-run home run, has him named MVP. I doubt there was a single bet that he was going to be named the game's MVP, and if there was, it came in with huge odds. So congratulations to you. All bets are action. We got a low-scoring game. We had 2 Giants pitchers appear in the game, Alex Cobb and Camilo Duvall. They both threw scoreless innings in the winning effort for the NL. Again, those uniforms all need an awful lot of work. And here's the deal. Like, even the American League uniform, which was bad, was at least better than, what was the pajamas that the National League was wearing? Was that a navy blue top on black pants and a tan hat? It looked like a dad dressed to go to Lowe's more than it did hearken to these are the greatest players in baseball. They didn't even really look like a softball team. They look like a dad going to Lowe's. Alex Cobb doing a little recruiting of Shohei Ohtani on the Giants' behalf. I saw an article by Angelina Martin on NBC Sports saying that look, when asked about all the, come to Seattle chants that Shohei Ohtani was getting, Alex Cobb basically said to a Seattle reporter, he's not coming to Seattle. Ichiro's already got a stamp up here. He needs a new place. He's coming to San Francisco. So maybe Alex Cobb did some recruiting of Shohei Ohtani. If he did, that's outstanding. I hope he did. Cobb was able to face his ex-teammate as he made his first All-Star game appearance in the 4th inning. He gave up a leadoff walk to Ohtani, then retired the next 3 hitters. Ohtani was the hitter that Cobb wanted to face the most, and he said that he was one of his favorite teammates to ever play with. Said that there is nobody that he's ever been around who wants to win as much as Shohei Ohtani. I would love to say that I want to win as much as anybody, but he is willing to do anything to win. Just watching in awe of everything he did and how good of a person he is and how humble of a person he is, it makes it really, really special. That's Alex Cobb's scouting report of Shohei Ohtani. Well, let me tell you, if he wants to win, getting out of Anaheim's got to be job number 1, and we'll really see whether or not the Angels are going to check the box of we're bad at this twice. It's one thing to completely squander Shohei Ohtani as a player that you control. It's another thing to completely squander Shohei Ohtani as a resource that you could allocate to making your entire farm system better. So they're basically, unless the Angels trade Shohei Ohtani, they're going to waste him coming and going. Nothing says you're bad at this than what did you do when either Shohei Ohtani was on your team and you've never even had a winning season with Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout in the middle of your lineup. You never even developed a winning season, much less go to the playoffs. That says something. And then if you're also the franchise that lets him walk for nothing, well, that's pretty much why you're the franchise that couldn't win with him. You don't know how to win with him, without him. You don't know how to win. The Giants better remember how to win and do it quickly when baseball starts back up again on Friday. Baseball in its second half begins on Friday, and the Giants open their second half with a season-long 11-game road trip. 3 at the Pirates starting on Friday. By the way, that game's going to be on Apple TV, so get ready to hear a lot of people bitching about, where is this game? I can't find it. It's going to be on Apple TV and KNBR. 4 games at the Reds, and they're hardly a pushover these days. The Reds are, you better bring a bat to Cincinnati. So you better wake up the bats in Pittsburgh. You better get those bats to Cincinnati. Then you got 3. So 3 at the Pirates, 4 at the Reds, 3 at the Nationals, and then 1 game in Detroit to make up for a rainout, I guess, earlier in the season. So Giants better step into this season with a little bounce in their step because they got a big road trip right off the rip. And that is going to be a place where this second half either starts with something really, really impressive, like you got an 11-gamer. Do you go 8-3? Do you really make noise on this road trip, or do you have a ho-hum or even worse than ho-hum road trip, and all of a sudden you begin your second half by cozying up right behind the 8 ball to begin with? So big 11-game stretch right out of the rip. I mean, it's a big 11-game stretch for everyone coming out of the All-Star break because what you think of yourself as a buyer or a seller will probably be determined in the next couple of weeks if you're on that balance beam of trying to choose between both right now. And I do believe that the Giants kind of exist there, although Farhan should have it in his mind that he's going to be a bit of a buyer just because this team has played itself into the team that looks like it should be a bit of a buyer here at the deadline. You know you got a halfway decent team. How do you make it better? You make a trade. Duh. There you go. Go play some baseball. We'll see if the Giants actually do it and get it done. I saw a story today that made my San Francisco heart hurt. And I'm not a big beer guy. I'm a whiskey guy. When it comes to drinking, I'm much more of a brown liquor cocktail kind of guy, gin and tonic kind of guy. If I'm off the brown liquor, going to a clear liquor, I'd rather it be gin, never vodka. I'll even go a little tequila at the times. But, I do like a good beer. And the good beer that I usually like when I'm out in San Francisco at a bar or at a restaurant, I always order an Anchor Steam. I love Anchor Steams. No more steam beer brewed in San Francisco. Anchor Steam announced today that they're shutting down their business, not just the tap room, but the brewery, after 127 years. Ouch. That sucks. That hurts. Story today in the San Francisco Chronicle said that the brewery is losing millions of dollars a year, and that the Anchor spokesperson, Sam Singer, said economic pressures have made this business no longer sustainable. There's no steam coming out of the brewery now. The brewery's 61 employees were notified of the shutdown early this morning. Their tap room will continue to operate through the beginning of August, possibly longer, but Anchor Steam's done. I used to love the seasonal beer that they would put out around Christmas time, and they've been doing that since 1975. That's my entire life. The city of San Francisco is without a beer that is the city's own beer? How? Like after 127 years, and I understand that it's funny economic times and the pandemic changed a lot of things for a lot of people. And they sold themselves to Japanese brewers Sapporo. But Sapporo's come on in and not saved a thing. Has not been the safety net that a struggling company fell into. Not even close. Sapporo purchased Anchor in 2017. The company was already in the red, according to this story. And the revenue is down by 2/3 since 2016. Anchor Steam sells most of its beer through bars and restaurants. The brewery attempted to expand its retail distribution, but was unable to break through in a big way. In other words, they probably overextended themselves trying to be the West Coast version of Sam Adams. It didn't really work. And that's where an awful lot of the profit might have been gobbled up, or the ability to continue doing business kind of vanished in that choice. And it sucks. It sucks. You'd think that they'd been on property long enough to have basically paid for the property, and they have to employ people to brew the beer and then sell the beer. And how much money could all that be? I don't know. I don't know the economics of brewing a beer, but you figure after 127 years, most of the stuff was paid for. What a shame. What a shame. I mean, Anchor Steam is a straight up San Francisco institution. I loved that beer. So what? I guess the closest thing we have now to a San Francisco beer is Lagunitas. I've been to their brewery up in, the North Bay. It's a great brewery, great place to go for a lunch. But it's not in San Francisco. That stinks, man. I mean, that hurts. And immediately, this story comes out and everyone says, doom spiral, doom spiral. It's San Francisco proving once again that it can't sustain itself as a city anymore. And this is Mayor London Breed and defunding the police and all that stuff. No, that really isn't connected to any of this. Now, maybe sales are down because nightlife and bar business in San Francisco is down across the board. But here's one thing that I can promise you for sure. It's going to come back. It's going to come back. San Francisco is taking its sweet time to come back, but it's all going to come back. There's nothing that's ever going to stop San Francisco. Not a pandemic, not a downturn in business, not the Nordstrom's closing down, not a Whole Foods leaving the city. Nothing's ever going to shut San Francisco down. We've got our problems. There's no doubt about that, but there is nothing that's ever going to stop San Francisco. There isn't a economic downturn. There isn't a 10.0 magnitude earthquake that's going to stop San Francisco. The city's not going anywhere. And if everyone who wants to be a pussy and get out right now goes ahead to leave, go. Get out. Get out. This town is amazing. This town is special. And I'm tired of hearing everyone just try to down dog San Francisco. But stories like this don't help. And that really sucks. That really sucks. Look, business everywhere is harder to do these days than it's ever been before. I mean, layoffs are happening everywhere. There's no amount of success, apparently, anyone can be afforded to have obtained and be safe from being laid off if you work for an element of corporate America, and corporate America is just in slash and burn mode. It might be rippling through journalism faster than it does in other places, but boy, the ripple is being felt and you can see it everywhere. Speaking of business, have I thanked my sponsors yet today? Because that absolutely needs to happen. Let me tell you about Ike's. Let me tell you about a delicious sandwich that I want you to go ahead and put in your mouth today. Use the Ike's app to order a sandwich. You'll be happy that you did. It is an outstanding sandwich. Whatever you might want, whatever sandwich feelings your heart leads you to, believe me, at Ike's, they have one with your name on it. They actually literally have one with my name on it. I'd suggest that's a great place for you to start your Ike's journey. Get yourself a Damon Bruce today. You'll be happy that you did. Get yourself a burger at Uncle Boy's. If you're in the mood for a burger, you want to talk about a San Francisco institution, well, we just lost Anchor Steam. Make sure we don't lose Uncle Boy's. Go give Uncle Boy's your business. They could really, really use your business. Give them your business. They will give you a burger, and you will be happy. get the lumpia, get the onion rings, support local businesses. Ike started as a local business, ran it so well, it's expanded. Uncle Boy's is a wonderful local business. Make sure you help them stay in business. Make sure you fill your belly with a delicious Uncle Boy's burger. Get the onion rings, try the lumpia. Believe me, Fat Boy knows. And believe me, as I was telling you about the brown liquor that I liked, there's no brown liquor I like more than blackened whiskey. They could literally say, Damon, we're not doing business with you anymore. I'm still going to have a bottle of blackened whiskey up on my bar forever because it's that good. It is fantastic. The price point works. The whiskey itself is versatile. It works in so many different ways, different cocktails, neat, straight, on the rocks, however you want your whiskey. Get yourself a bottle of blackened. You'll be glad that you did. Talking about just downturns and business not being the same anymore. Again, Ray Ratto he wrote an awesome article in The Defector. And it was about the dying American sports desk. You know, it's happening across newspapers. It's happening in the LA Times, New York Times. And the story that Ray wrote basically begins at Bruce Jenkins' retirement party. Longtime San Francisco Chronicle columnist Bruce Jenkins has retired. There was a retirement party, and I guess Ray showed up to just spread Ray's special brand of cheer through that retirement party. And, you know, the theme was, and by the way, Bruce Jenkins, salute, brother. Enjoy your retirement. Well-earned, well-deserved. Bruce Jenkins is about as cool a gentleman scribe as I've ever met in a working press box. I love Bruce Jenkins. Great guy, great writer. Wish him nothing but the very, very best. And basically, he was telling everyone that he picked the right time to get out. He picked the right time to get out because, you know, he's a guy who's been around a newspaper so long. He remembers when it was good to be at a newspaper. It's got to be very sad for those ink-stained wretches, and I say that with all respect, to watch what's happening to their own industry. You know, it's very sad as a broadcaster to see what's happening to the broadcasting industry. Breaks my heart to see the way people are being treated for no reason at all, no real reason at all. You know, the amount of heads being lopped off is not going to save a significant portion of money for any of these companies really doing it. They're not. It's just selfish greed. And no one is better at documenting corrupt and selfish greed from the top than my old pal, Ray Ratto. And I just want to read to you what Ray wrote. And that's how we're going to wrap up today's show before we get into Club Plus. Ray wrote that basically all media is now desiring its new workers to replace their current workers until it can trim off the new workers too. The most cost-effective boat, all things considered, is no boat at all. And nobody will remember the business thugs who did the deed because they thrive like faceless hitmen. They might remember some of the people that they read and enjoyed and learned from, but that's not what the newspaper is anymore. It's just another way to explain late-stage capitalism, eating the people who do the work and replacing them with fewer and cheaper ones. Retirees from this industry no longer have the choice of just in time, but only varying stages of too late. And Ray is so right. You know, Ray and I were both very, very good at our jobs. We were paid like we were good at our jobs, which we afforded throughout our robust careers to get to that point to prove to everyone how good we were at our jobs. We proved it with the #1 rated sports talk show in Northern California. And then that was replaced by cheaper, I won't say less talented, because I don't think that Mark Willard and Dan Dibley are less talented, but they ain't Damon and Ratto, and they certainly work cheaper than Damon and Ratto did. And so that's why the show is theirs now. And I would caution them, regardless of their success, to go ask for another penny, because every single person, no matter how good you are at a job, a corporation looks at you as nothing more than a price point. And if they can do the same business at a cheaper price point, that decision, it might not be made today, but it will be made tomorrow. There is no golden watch and retirement with dignity afforded anyone these days. How quickly can we blow out a properly paid, experienced employee and replace them with a poorly paid, inexperienced employee? That is essentially the business model that all industries are now implementing right now. And it's gross. And that is why I am very happy, even though it's in its humble, growing stages, not profitable stages, not able for me to say, don't worry about it, Jillian, I'm going to cover the mortgage. But I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place because anybody in the world can now come find me, and slowly and surely, indeed they are. I'm in a place where you can come and find me and use me at any point in time that is most convenient for you. And let's be honest, that is now the only way people are consuming media, when it is convenient for them. You're not going to tell me when the show starts. I'll start the show when I need it to. Is how people go about their entertainment business these days. So you can't do that on radio, but you can certainly do this on YouTube. And there's no doubt in my mind that I'm in the right place. It might not be reflected in my bank account this year or even next year, but years after that, there's absolutely no doubt, as this thing continues to grow and expand, and I am not working for anyone that could ever do a thing to say, all right, Damon, that's enough plusing. We're going to replace you. I'm finally in the one place that I can't be replaced. And even though that is a scary ledge to stand on because it's not very profitable yet, it feels good. It feels really good to know that you're in charge now of your own destiny, not some nameless, faceless, talentless pencil pusher who just wanted to do math for a living. And the only math that they're interested in doing these days is subtracting. They're not adding. I'm going to go and have an anchor steam a little bit later on today. I suggest you do as well. Thanks so much for tuning in. It was awesome talking to you. If you're just listening on the podcast, that means an awful lot to me. Thank you so very, very much for supporting myself, the show, my family, everything. If you're supporting me and supporting my sponsors, you're supporting everything right now, and it means an awful lot. Thank you very, very much for doing so, and please do remember, before the rest of us here on YouTube slide into Club Plus, that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And like that, he's gone. You know, yesterday I forgot to plug in the disco ball. I mean, how did that happen? We're never shutting down Club Plus, baby. We're not going to shut down the club. We will make it sexier, though. Ready? Ooh. Ooh. Sexy Club Plus. Sexy Club Plus. I just need one more thing to bring it all together. Boom. There it is. Blackened whiskey. Let's slip over into the chat for the very first time today. What do we got? I pinned some messages before we even began today, and that was my friend Stacy Leo saying hello, like button clicked, logged in, multitasking with work. Thank you very much, Stacy, for your multitasking. I appreciate that. Erwin says, look. Oh, no, wait, sorry, Erwin. I just unpinned your tweet. My bad. We'll get to Erwin a little bit later. He's all through the chat, I'm sure. Chef A, again, she was stopping on by. She's saying hello to Otis Bird. The whole family's getting together. I love that. True Blue Forever, talking about those sell the team chants. Yeah, I heard him. I heard them at the All-Star game. John Fisher does not care. Again, you can't shame the shameless, can you? And you can't shame, obviously, Rob Manfred. Sporticus says, commissioners in pro sports should be voted on and paid 50-50 by owners and players. That's real stewardship. You're right about that, Sporticus. Hold on. Wait, this is a little too dark. There we go. Yeah, the commissioner is not a caretaker of a game. He is not someone who is there to be installed to protect the game of baseball or fans from greed or anything like that. He's just there to work for owners. That's all he does. He works for ownership, and that's gross. La Professora, she says, I can't RIP Anchor Brewing. I just can't type that. Not yet. Look, the deed is done. It's done. It stinks, La Professora. But it seems to be done. You want to talk about San Francisco, staples? Dungeness crab and an anchor. Smiley Dan. Yeah, you couldn't do better than that. You couldn't do better than that. Now, my friend Legends Pizza saying everyone is leaving San Francisco. No, that's not true. That is definitively not true. Everyone is not leaving San Francisco. Only the assholes. But it stinks. It absolutely stinks. And a lot of people learned it here. Man, that blows. Anchor Steam leaving. It hurts. Yeah, Michelle, she's a big beer fan. I think she was just doing some brewery tour up in Oregon. She's like, no. It stinks. My man at Uncle Boys, because I hate seeing San Francisco born and bred businesses shut down, especially one that is so historic. Again, 127 years. Sarah says she always liked using Anchor Steam in her pizza dough. It's a great beer. Now, Daniel Shabazz, again, I'm not saying that you're falling for propaganda here, but it says the Westfield gave up on a mall in San Francisco. That speaks volumes. No, it doesn't. Westfield is closing malls all over America. But the one in San Francisco you'll read about because everyone loves to go to the printing press with, look at how San Francisco is dying. Just because a Whole Foods closes doesn't mean downtown San Francisco is dying. They should have never built a Whole Foods on the corner of Homeless and Dirty Balls. They shouldn't have, but they did. So that was their mistake. And then the whole Westfield Center, malls are dying everywhere, every city, every state. So it's not an indication that business is dying. Business is changing. Business is changing rapidly, and brick and mortar places are having trouble more than ever before. Michelle's right, though. That Christmas sale was one of my favorites. It really was. I would always go out and I would get a case of Christmas ale around the holidays. I'm not the guy who just picks up a case of beer every time he goes to the supermarket, but I would pick one of those up in December all the time. I told you we'd get to Irwin. Irwin says, Damon, that Anchor Christmas ale is legend. I guess that's all it will be. Just a shame. Smiley Dan says, Heineken owns Lagunitas. I think Heineken owns a lot of things. Didn't Heineken buy Anheuser-Busch? And yes, Lagunitas is up in Petaluma. That's where it is. E. Scott Burns saying it's half owned. Half owned. Chef A says, what a shame. You know, it was started by Fritz Maytag from the Maytag Washer and Dryer Company out of Iowa. They also make killer blue cheese. Fritz is a great guy. Is that Maytag blue cheese? I don't. Is that a brand of blue cheese too? I don't even know. It feels like there could be some crowdfunding done to maybe save it. I mean, I don't know what their business operations were, but obviously it wasn't very good. You know, this whole town, throughout its entire history, I mean, all of it, it's a boom or bust town. That's the way San Francisco has always operated. It's always had its down years, its lean years, its valleys to go along with its peak years. It's, tech boom, gold rush, different eras, finance of the early 80s. San Francisco's always going through ebbs and flows. And if you need a little history lesson, here's La Profesora saying if you want some perspective, go find a copy of Herb Cain's Baghdad by the Bay, published in 1949. It'll teach you more about the resiliency of San Francisco. Again, San Francisco's doom and gloom is so overreported every 15, 20 years. Again, I was reading articles from the mid-90s about how San Francisco was dying. And it was literally in the middle of a tech boom with more billions of dollars being funneled into downtown than ever before. So there's just a group of people out there that are going to tell you San Francisco's dying or dead, no matter how much it is thriving or exceeding in any way, shape, or form. It makes good copy. Again, Uncle Boys. San Francisco has been said to blow up and disappear from the map since my grandpa immigrated here in the 50s as a farmer, as a cook. Again, there's nothing that stops this town. It slows down, but there's nothing that stops it. Cussy Esports. I've not seen your name before. Watching us on Twitch. What up? Shout out Twitch. Now, here's a point that's hard to argue with. Alex ATL says tech companies really did ruin the real estate market in California. Well, they're certainly among the problem. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. Otis Bird learning, wow, Bruce Jenkins retired. I learned that in the Ray Ratto article about the dying American sports desk, too. I guess there's no coincidence that Bruce Jenkins and his retirement is part of a dying American sports desk column. How about this, Uncle Boys? Gonna lead a food bar tour in the inner rich. We'll start at Uncle Boys and end at O'Keefe's old school dive bar. Who's down? Here's the deal. If you really want to wrap up at an old school dive bar, you got to go to the Hearth. I mean, if you're talking inner rich dive bars, you can't leave out the granddaddy of them all, the Hearth. The Hearth is the only bar I've ever been in California where I felt like I was back in Schenectady. Like back in depressing-ass upstate New York. That is how divey the Hearth is. I would go there a lot. I used to live right around the corner from it. I love the Hearth. Golden State Lakota says, Ray is a city legend. He is. Ray is a legend, but don't tell him. He's the worst compliment taker of all time. He wants to know, how is Ray? So here's the deal. I like that article from Ray so much. I actually texted him this morning, and he has not written me back yet. I said, I just wanted to say that your column on the American Sports Desk was outstanding. Your writing is good enough to actually make me miss you sometimes. Kisses, darling. Have not heard back from Ray. By the way, I also will email Ray's an Odyssey stock price every now and then, just to let him know how much killing our show did for them. Ray absolutely nailed it in the column, shedding layers on layers. He needs to come on as soon as possible. Look at it this way. What I'm planning with Ray will hopefully happen to commemorate our 100th show here on the Plus. And we do count these things. We do count these things. What are we at today? Hold on. I'll tell you where we are today here on the Plus. Today is show number 74. So if Ray might show up around the century mark, about 25 shows from now, we should be saying hello to Ray. Roddy Richards, also on Twitch. Look at Twitch blowing up, baby. We're blowing up on Twitch now, not just YouTube. Hello, Twitchers. NBC Bay Area no longer has sports anchors. They just have a news anchor doing highlights. Yeah, you're going to see more and more of that. You're going to see more and more of that. Less people, less qualified people doing more things at a cheaper rate is pretty much how the entire media world works now. JJ Rader, Damon, I'll say it, less talented. Like, I'm not saying that about anybody. Nathaniel Richards, thanks for sharing, Damon. I miss Ray. What do we got from Mitch? Mitch says, I like Dibs, but he doesn't compare to Damon and Ray in any universe. Look, here's the deal. Nobody compared to me and Ray in any universe. There is no universe that would have ever put me and Ray together. It shouldn't have happened. It probably shouldn't have worked, but it did. It did. I have no idea why Ray and I were so good together. It made no sense to me, but it worked. And it worked better than anything else that ever happened on that station. Full stop. What we do cannot be duplicated. You can't. This brain doesn't fit into anyone else's. The way that my brain works, the way that Ray's brain worked, they're not like other brains. I'm not saying they're better. They're just different. Damon, I missed the show with Gianna and Bouton Vixen, R.I.P. Cougar Rebel. I missed that too, man. When I think about some of the most fun I ever had in my radio life, it was with the two of them, working with the two of them each and every day. East Bay Ricardo, great show today. Make sure you hit that like button. Oh, indeed, hit that like button. Again, I don't like saying hit that like button. We got a Eric Johnson. He's got a new measurement for us. Do we have our own sabermetrics now? Wins above replusement? Is that our war? Thank you very much. Otis Bird. Damon, irreplaceable on the Plus. I would hope so. People are talking about going out for an anchor steam. I mean, get it while you can, right? Eventually, the last bottle of Anchor Steam gets sold in San Francisco? Then we're just out of Anchor Steam forever? That hurts. Looking at a media OG, Kim Schaefer in here. Excellent diatribe today. We try. Plus it real good. Thank you, Mike S. I appreciate that. Smiley Dan saying, Damon, a Blaze On opener. Pretty solid, right? So here's the thing. I'm never a big Blaze On guy. It's okay for a new Fish song. What I thought was incredible, though, was the entire set list and a 5-song encore. You had, Meat Stick, Fuck Your Face, Iculus, Massapequa Policeman, and what, Character Zero? It is well known in the Fish world that the first show of a tour is usually nothing very memorable. That was a hell of a first set. A second set opening with a 2001? That's them feeling it, baby. That's them feeling it. By the way, I didn't get that show last night. I didn't get the show last night, but I'm going to wait and pick and choose my moments for the show. I got to put kids to bed. I had an all-star game to watch. But I've already listened to it this morning while I was getting ready. I already listened to all the highlights from the show because I got live fish on the phone. So if I miss it live, I listen to it the next morning. But Smiley Dan, sure, I'll take a Blaze On Tour opener, but I'm also a jaded vet that would also be thrilled with not getting a Blaze On at any point in time. Danny G, you know what, Danny? Thank you for letting me know on social media. I shared it on Twitter. He said, Damon, I checked out Uncle Boy's yesterday. It was my last day visiting the Bay. The Cowboy Burger was awesome. I drove by the Full House afterwards for the very first time since it was right by there. Danny G, you knit it. I don't know where you're from, Danny G, but I'm sorry that you're leaving the Bay, but I hope you had a great time, and thank you for being such a loyal listener to the show that while you were in town, you gave some of your business to one of my sponsors. That means an awful lot, and I hope you had a good time at what is that? Alta Vista, Alta Plaza. What is Alamo Square? That's what it. Alamo Square is where you find the Full House painted ladies. Yeah, talk about something that you can't have anymore. Bamboo Soldier. Clam chowder in a boudin sourdough bowl bread bowl. Wash it down with an anchor. Amen. That's some good living right there. Mike Antics, go ahead, filling up that jingle jangle, saying, get an anchor steam on me, going into the ganja jar with a 20 spot. Thank you very much, Mike. That's very kind of you. Very, very nice of you. By the way, Legends, I didn't mean to come down your road. He said, I didn't mean it in a bad way. I've also said that businesses are leaving a great city, but you can't ignore the fact that people are leaving. No, look, this is a tough place to thrive. If you don't have some serious income coming in, that's something that, Jillian and I are finding out. We're really tightening our belts. And that is what we got to do when I just got totally, screwed over by a heartless, soulless company that I thought might have actually loved me back based on all the things I did for it. But boy, you learn that lesson and you write it down and you don't forget it. I'm not saying I'll never go back to radio, but what I am saying is I'll never give this up to do anything. I'll supplement this with a radio show, but I'm never, ever, ever giving it up. Oh, I told you the Whole Foods didn't work out on the corner of Homeless and Dirty Balls. True Blue Forever saying, I can't find the corner of Homeless and Dirty Balls on that Google map. It's also like Mission and 6th. You can find it there. R.I.P. Cougar Rebel. Homeless and Dirty Balls? Yeah, never thought I drove by that intersection. Well, there are a couple Homeless and Dirty Balls intersections. NorCal Viking. Here you go. Joe Lacob needs to buy Anchor Steam. Go, absolutely, Joe. Joe, swoop in, buy Anchor Steam, get your own Golden State brewed beer. I sense millions of marketing opportunities. Go save them, Joe. Go save them, Joe. A lot of talk about malls shutting down all over America. They are. They really are. With shoplifting going on, it's almost impossible for small businesses to stay in business. That is from Boomer T. I will say this. When I am elected mayor or commissioner of the city or president of San Francisco, whatever, we will be compassionate about how we deal with our homeless. We will remain compassionate about how we deal with people who have addictions and dependency problems. We will be dispassionate about shoplifters. I would be fucking shoplifters up if I were in charge of San Francisco. If I were in charge of San Francisco, every single store owner to me would have permission to cut the hand off of anyone you catch shoplifting. Just cut their hand off. There you go. I'm a big, dude, the shoplifting stuff has got to stop. It's got to stop. What's the point of having laws on the books if we're not even going to enforce any of the laws on the books? Come on. The shoplifting has got to stop. Well, but then you're going to go ahead and you're going to really go ahead and over prosecute a diminished. I don't care. I'm not looking at you as a minority, a diminished community at that point. You're just a shoplifter, and I would be destroying shoplifters' comfortable nature of shoplifting in San Francisco when elected the king of all things. Damon, we got to have D. Bruce and Ratto on a Friday doing some whiskey pulls. Again, we're working on it. We're going to work on it. Damon with the hearth. You know it, baby. 11th and Geary. See, you know it too. Meredith still works there. Erwin, how you getting down with the hearth? How do you know so much about the hearth? You kicking it in the inner rich? Would Ratto like it more if we told him, Ray, you're awful? Rockin' New Air 84. Yeah, he'd be more comfortable with that. He would be more comfortable with that than you telling him that you like him. Otis Bird, it's still weird to me how broke Odyssey is when so many stations throughout the country fall under their umbrella. Yeah. Do you realize how poorly you have to run a company from the top down to be as financially insolvent as they are with all the assets that they have? It is a fucking clown show over in that C-suite at Odyssey. The amount of corporate executives you'd want to hire from the Odyssey team go to zero. You'd want none of them running your business. Damon, I'm going to have to go ahead and end my bar crawl at O'Keefe's because they'll be the closest bar a block away to the home base. I get it. I totally get it. But let's be completely honest. Uncle Boy's is what, a few more blocks away? Or not? I'm not Uncle Boy's, but the Hearth. It's just a few more blocks away. Oh, look at this. Someone else over on the Twitch. JJ Raider. Look at Twitch coming in today. Strong. La Profesora. So in about 5 weeks, we get a Ray sighting? That's what I hope. We're going to try to work on it. Oh, people trying to predict where it's going to come. So what? We're going 8/17, August 17th for Ray? Man. Lots of good stuff here. Lots of love. Look, I'm not going to go ahead and bag on anyone who's still working over at 95.7. Not going to do that. But there's a lot of love coming our way. Erwin again saying, Damon and Ray, it was magic. It really was. Nathan Hyatt said, look, man, the Hearth on Geary was my jam 10 years ago. That's the thing. You want to put in time at the Hearth, but you don't want to move in there. You want to rent the Hearth. You don't buy it. Rick Mighty Bone Feliciano saying, I miss Damon and Gianna from back in the day. Those are good days, man. They really, really were. There was an awful lot of fun. You can get an Anchor Steam at Safeway. Glass half full guy. I mean, for how long? How long? Uncle Boys. Damon, I admit it, I'm not a fish fan, but I'm down to hit a show on the shrooms. Well, again, this is a strong way to do it. This is a strong way to do it. Kim's down with I'm going to try to find a bar with an anchor today. Yeah, do it. Do it while you can. Do it while you can. I mean, here's the point. Brought up by Matt saying Anchor Steam should be made into a San Francisco landmark. It's been there since 1896. And isn't there some sort of historical something that could come and save that? Isn't there a group of investors? And I just don't understand how Anchor Steam could be so insolvent and tits up financially that they just can't go forward. They have no recourse but to shut the whole thing down forever. I can't believe it. Again, we need, dude, how about this? The Lake of Blogger. Smiley Dan. That's not bad, Lake. That's pretty good. Have you tried the Lake of Blogger? Damon, you can include the smash and grab people in San Francisco, too. Here's the deal. Those people pulling the smash and grabs, they're not San Franciscans. They're literally driving over one of our two bridges to come in and take advantage of people who, you know, are what? Hayseed enough to leave something in the back seat. And by the way, just because you leave something in the back seat doesn't mean like, oh, you deserve to be a victim. But yeah, the amount of small petty crime that is just tolerated and looked the other way in this city is a big part of the decay. And I would have all sorts of angry specialization groups coming after me, telling me how horrible I was. And in the meantime, I'd be cleaning up this city with zero apology. Like if you punch out anyone's back mirror, or if you punch out a mirror in a car, that's an automatic 3-year prison sentence. It would just be that. I would make a small petty crime so small and not petty you wouldn't even think about doing it. Shoplifting, instant 5 years. Plus dismemberment. We will take a hand from you. You smash and grab, you get 10 years. Again, let's not tolerate so much that we become tolerant of shit that we should not tolerate. Postman Capitola says, D. Bruce, I know you got that love for fish. Any string cheese incident? You know, not really. They're okay. They're good live, but I'm not a big string cheese guy. They're not bad. Not bad, but they're just not mine. Damon, we need to properly honor Ray with an official Ray Ratto sweater day. See, he hates that, by the way. He hates the whole thing. Smiley Dan saying, damn, I love this community. Missed all of you the last couple of weeks. I'm going to catch you at the next show. And I'm going to catch all of you, hopefully, at the next show. This is Chef A saying, Damon, please tell us again where and how we get to meet you live. What event are you going to do? I'm going to tell you, Chef A, you keep an eye on all this because we're getting closer and closer to having the location and the date picked and lined up. So keep on watching and we will let you know. We will let you know exactly where the meetup is going to be. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to come at a time. It's going to come at a time when the Duchess herself is going to be in town. So not only can you come and hang out with me and Jillian, but my mom's going to be there too. So it's a family affair, baby. It is a family affair. Go ahead, get yourself an Anchor Steam while you can. Get yourself a sandwich at Ike's. Get yourself a burger at Uncle Boy's. You try that lumpia. You pick up a bottle of Blackened. You support the Plus, and we're not going anywhere. And you don't have to go anywhere. But the deal is, it is time to close down Club Plus, and you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.